very pertinent points. The question of Israel, if they want to stop the war, the question about the security of Indians that are stuck in the Gulf, and obviously if there is an end to this war. I thank you for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. All right, we are moving forward now. There is another guest who is now joining us on this special broadcast regarding the war. Major General GD Bakshi, who is a senior defense expert. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it. General Bakshi, obviously, firstly, I want to understand the Trump administration and Israel's Operation Lion's Roar aim to decapitate the Iranian leadership in the opening salvos of February. Yet a month later now, sir, Tehran's decentralized command and control seems to be holding on. Do you feel that US, they might want to look at an early and honorable exit? Do you believe that that is something which is possible now, or have we reached a point of no return, sir?
Look, unless America cuts its losses and calls off this insane operation, totally needless, unrequired war of choice. You see, it was started with no strategy, with no end aim, no exit plan, no exit strategy, and now they are caught, hoist with their own petard. They thought in 48 hours they'll decapitate the Iranian regime and they will repeat Venezuela. The third world countries will start falling like 9 pins against the Hitlerian offensive of Donald Trump. We haven't heard any hail Trump. No hail Hitlers, please. We've just seen the whole world is now going to suffer because of the stupidity, the ill thought through plan of attack which has landed the world. It is driving the world into a recession. You forget the rest of the world. India, which is supposed to be a strategic partner, defining partnership of the 21st century, US, as far as the US is concerned, they have done the Indian economy the maximum harm in Asia. The 3 economies which have suffered due to the Iran crisis, it is Japan, it is South Korea, it is India. 60% of our gas, 50% of our oil used to come from the Gulf. 30% of our fertilizers were coming from the Gulf. Transportation costs have gone up, insurance costs have gone up. Across the board, we are going to have first inflation, then recession and stagflation. This is an oil shock worse than the 1973 and the 2022 oil shock combined. Absolutely. A hell of a great achievement. You've done it to the rest of the world. I think we have to ask our friends in Israel. He's saying he still is only halfway through. He couldn't care less if the Indian economy goes down. I mean, is that so, sir? Then you are not just concerned. I know the security of Israel is extremely important, but it cannot come at the cost of the security of every other nation state, economic well-being of every other nation state in the world. Somewhere you have to be concerned. You can't be so self-obsessed.
Absolutely, General. In fact,
and now you will have to give us a break. I think everybody gave you all the support that you wanted. We let you bash the Hamas needed to be bashed. You bashed them for 2 years, 2 years plus. Then you bashed the Hezbollah. Nobody said a thing. People supported you. Then you hit Iran last year. People still supported you. Now you want to hit them again this year, but you don't want to stop the fight. You said, I couldn't care less if the world goes into recession. My security is paramount, and if the rest of the world suffers a huge economic shock because of this, I don't care. I'm sorry, sir, you will have to care. If you are our genuine friend, you will have to care and call it off. We had enough. You are very fond of fighting. That's good. Your own Israeli chief of defense staff is saying, we've been fighting for 900 days. We are tired. right? And you aren't asking the Orthodox Jews to serve in the military, to come as reservists. Therefore, there is unfair burden on one section of society. Israel has taken a big hit. They are a very brave country, very brave people. We salute them, but they have walked into a trap of their own making. They have totally underestimated Iran militarily, psychologically, and its willpower and stamina has been grossly underestimated, because they thought it would be over in 48 hours. It is 1 month and still counting. It's only becoming more intense. So give it a break, sir. If it was not having any effect on the rest of the world, we would have said, okay, fight on till you are satisfied. You know, you enjoy fighting, go right ahead and fight. The rest of the world will watch and clap. But we can't clap, sir, because you have ruined our economies.
Right.
You have ruined our economy, sir. And it is only beginning to show now. The Ras, that Ras refinery in gas refinery in gas plant in Qatar is offline. It will take 5 years to be repaired. Where will we go for our gas? 60% of our gas comes from there.
Absolutely, General. The implications of the war.
22% of the world oil, you want to take it off.
Absolutely.
You
the
want to create
implications
a
of the war,
situation
General, are
where you
felt
hit the
across
desalination
the
plants.
globe, sir. In fact, when you have also often said that wars aren't won by air power alone. And now Trump is also, sir, threatening to obliterate Iran's power plants and oil wells if a deal isn't reached by next week. Do you see this as a sign of a strategic desperation? Can the US achieve its goals without committing to at least 3-4 divisions of boots on the ground, sir, which is something that the American public, sir, has no appetite for?
Well, right now Peter Hegseth is giving his press briefing, which I wanted to hear, but I am now with you. The simple fact of the matter is that Donald Trump has tweeted that let the Gulf of Hormuz be closed. We don't get any oil from there. Let UK and the nations of Europe open the Gulf of Hormuz. You got it closed.
Right.
And now you just want to walk away from it. कि मेरा क्या जाता है? आप लोग मरो. He wants to. He started bombing the desalination plants in Iran. Iran takes only about less than 10% of its water from desalination. There are countries in the Gulf which have over 90% dependency on desalination plants. What if Iran retaliates in kind to what you have done so stupidly? What happens to the Indian diaspora of 9 million? How many days can people live without water? There will be chaos in the Middle East, man. A humanitarian disaster of unimagined proportions. If Iran just repays the compliment you have paid them by hitting the desalination plants of the Gulf countries. America pretends to be an ally of the Gulf countries. What is it encouraging Iran to do? Hit the Gulf countries' water? That will be a humanitarian disaster. अब कहाँ से पानी भेजोगे साहब? How many shiploads of water will you send per day? 9 million Indian citizens are in the Gulf. उनका क्या होगा? What is going to happen to the Gulf? The poor people of the Gulf, they are very decent people, I thought. I have been to Dubai, I have been to Abu Dhabi. I like those people. They are such nice people, very hospitable, very helpful, etc. What will happen to them? If their water supply is cut because America doesn't care. Donald Trump doesn't care if they, have to die of thirst. What the hell are you up to, sir? Have you any sense of responsibility for your actions, for what you are doing, for what you are doing to the world, what you are doing to the nations of the Gulf?
Absolutely, General. In fact, it's become a war of survival for the Gulf.
At the end of the day, I am an Indian. Sorry, I'll just finish.
Yes, sir.
I just finished. At the end of the day, I am an Indian. I am concerned first and foremost about India. It has hit, this stupid war of choice has hit our economy, our energy security, our food security. They've all been negatively impacted by this endless war, which they are in no mood to stop. They want to bomb for a couple of weeks more at least. To hell with the rest of the world. So what if it affects the Indian economy? You might as well suffer it. Kyun, sir? I thought we were friends. I thought the United States supposed to be a strategic partner. You know, that it is talking like a colonial power is another joke. I have conquered Venezuela, I need their oil, so Venezuela is mine. I am the president of Venezuela. I am now going to appoint the Ayatollah in Iran. Who gave you that divine right, sir? You are going to remove the government in Cuba. You want the rare earths of Greenland. So just grab it. So whom will you come for next, sir? India? May I remind you that India is a nuclear power. And you will get some things right back if you haven't had enough from Iran, that is.
Right.
A middle tier power, a third world power has given it back to you. And I think it's for the betterment of the world, because this man was pretending to be Hitler. Unapologetic. You bomb the schools of girls, you kill 168 little girls in Iran, and then you tell us that we must mourn Bucha, we must abuse Russia. What about your actions?
Absolutely, General. I think I agree.
168 girls? Who cares?
100% agree with you, General. In fact, you've pointed out some very important points, and like you said, let's talk about India, General. You have talked about the desalinization plants being hit. Our diaspora is in the crosshairs over there. I want to understand your observations, sir, regarding the position of India as a mediator in this conflict. Do you believe that this is something that can happen? Because our energy security is being hit. We are trying everything we can to help our neighbors as well. We are sending ships across to Sri Lanka. But our diaspora is, sir, hit. Do you believe that India now needs to, come up, make sure that we come up as a third-party negotiator? Because we have parties like Pakistan, which, sir, have no say, absolutely no stand in the global world. They are coming up and saying that, yes, we can be your postman, we'll pass the messages. Do you believe, sir, now it's time for India to take a stance in this war?
Look, I have been saying for days on end that India has very good relations with Israel, brotherly relations, very good relations with Iran, and we are supposed to be having good relations with the United States. It's another thing that they impose 50% tariffs on us and do coups in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, everywhere, etc. And they have a problem. They want to carve a cookie land out of Manipur and Mizoram, but they are supposed to be good friends. Now the simple fact is, India is well placed, was well placed to try and mediate, because it is in our interest to stop this stupid war. It was in our interest to mediate, but for some reason, I don't know, I suggested that, but we heard on this thing that the foreign minister himself has said, India is not a broker nation. So Pakistan jumped in and it got 10 ships out. Whatever else it got out or not, we've only gotten 4 ships out so far. Pakistan, because it pretended to, negotiate or to try and help Iran out of this jam, they got their 10 ships out. They are saying 20 ships they will let them come. Would we have minded 20 ships? I don't know. I'm not a diplomat. So I would rather leave it to the diplomats to come to these conclusions. We wanted to intervene in the Ukraine-Russia war. Thousands of miles away, very little to do with us, frankly, when compared to what's happening in Iran and the Middle East, from where 60% of our energy comes. We were prepared to, under some duress, stop buying oil from Russia. We were getting oil from Russia at $50–60 a barrel. Now you have to pay for the same oil $138 a barrel. I am not sure if that is an achievement. I am not at all sure if that is an achievement.
All right. Thank you so much, General, for taking out your time. We always appreciate it and your very good perspective and analysis on this issue. With that, in fact, we are moving on to some other news that